I think about what was portrayed in front of me as I grew up, and my parents never really talked too much about any money problems in front of me, and I think that had pretty good value, especially early on in my life, because I didn't see any bad side. I also didn't want for anything, so you could also kind of go the other way there and think about learning the value of money. Might have needed to be impressed upon me at a little bit different level. But I think about with my family now and my kids, I do probably, I mean, I wear everything on my sleeve anyway. I don't keep anything from them. So if something's stressing me about money, I tend to talk about it in front of them. And I don't know how valuable that is.
I think it depends on how you convey it. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was going to say it does depend on how you convey it. If money stress equals stress to the children, and if that is a catalyst for stress in your family, in the familial relationship, not just the money relationship, but in the family relationship, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
But to be honest about, hey, we have a difficulty here, or we can't spend this right now on this or whatever, that is, I think, very direct and very honest. And I think that for the most part, honesty is the best policy.
I think it's the educational element versus the emotional burden of it. And that's a big difference in how you communicate with your kids. I was talking with a friend recently that we have a mutual friend who's just really not ever gotten to the point where money was a tool to use, but money has been a burden to bear in every aspect of their adult life. And I hate to see people in that situation. It doesn't have to be that way psychologically. And a lot of it comes back to what you learned growing up, whether it was right or wrong. And, there are some things that you could debate whether there is a right or wrong. It's just an opinion or a different way to do things. But money should not be a burden to bear for you. And what I always come back to, guys, is when you think about, let's go back to Scripture for just a minute. The wisest man who ever lived was King Solomon. He also was the wealthiest man who ever lived. And that tells me that there's not a problem with wealth. It is a question of what do you do with it? How do you utilize it?
And how you think about it. Let me pose this question to you guys. Is there a shortage of money?
No.
I don't think so.
No, there really isn't. But how many people labor under the false sense that money is scarce and they that it's just out of reach to them? And it is really a mindset thing that people get into, scarcity mentality, and they live that way. And because they live that way, but they believe that way and behave that way.
If you were raised thinking that you were a financial burden to your family, then things in your life are going to be a financial burden.